It's no secret that Christian churches are suffering these days from an exodus from their congregations of disillusioned members. Church attendance has declined because of a perceived hypocrisy on the part of the church. When churches ostracize and demonize the LGBTQIA community, when they denigrate and disempower women, when they dismiss or punish people who have questions or doubts about hot-button issues, when they use shame and judgment to manipulate the masses, parishioners see the church's hypocrisy for what it is and join the growing number of people who want nothing to do with organized religion. The phenomenon is one that is affecting all churches, even the right-wing conservative churches that are largely responsible for the mass exodus. So they have come up with a solution. Instead of using their massive wealth to feed the hungry, welcome the stranger, and advocate for the disenfranchised, they are spending millions on a slick rebranding campaign called He Gets Us. For instance, in one of the commercials, a black and white slideshow narrated by a woman with a Spanish accent tells the story of Central American migrants who must flee their home to avoid persecution. It's not until the end that it's revealed the story being told is actually about Jesus and his parents, Mary and Joseph. The ads are funded by 19,500 mostly anonymous churches, as well as large donors like Hobby Lobby, which was behind the legal fight in the Supreme Court for companies not to have to provide contraception on the basis of their religious beliefs, and who is known to have supported anti-LGBTQ measures. The campaign spent millions of dollars on just 2 Super Bowl commercials and plans to spend $1 billion within the first year of the He Gets Us campaign. And that's just phase 1 of the campaign. It seems that right-wing conservative churches are willing to invest big bucks to get their donors back into the pews. But that's not the reason that the He Gets Us website says the campaign exists. The website says, we simply want everyone to understand the authentic Jesus as he's depicted in the Bible. Sharing the authentic Jesus with a slick, inauthentic advertising campaign. What could go wrong? Which brings me to this morning's text. It's an account of Jesus revealing his authentic self to 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John. You see, you don't have to spend millions of dollars to get people to understand the authentic Jesus. All you have to do is tell the story. So here it goes. One day Jesus decided it was time to reveal his true self to some friends. But as any person within the LGBTQIA community knows, coming out can be a scary thing. It's scary because you can't be sure how folks will respond to you. Will they embrace you with love? Or will they look at you as if you are a monster and turn their backs on you? And so initially, the safest thing to do is to come out to your closest friends or family members. That way, there's less risk of rejection. And that's just what Jesus did. He took his closest friends up the mountain to reveal his authentic self to them. And when he did, It's as if a bright light shone forth from him, illuminating everything from him. His face and even his clothing shone with dazzling brightness, as bright, our text says, as the sun. There's a freedom that's associated with coming out, and it transforms the person into a whole human being, one more inclined to appreciate life, one who engages with the world instead of hiding away from it out of fear, one who laughs more and smiles often, one who lets their inner light shine forth. In our text, Peter responds by wanting to build a dwelling on the mountain for Jesus and his conversation companions, Moses and Elijah. Some translations say it was a tent he wanted to construct. I don't know. Maybe Peter wanted to build a dwelling for Jesus in order to keep him up there on the mountain. Sometimes that's how people respond when they have just been told their loved one is queer. That's fine, honey, but you don't need to flaunt it in everyone's face. You wouldn't want to embarrass the family, would you? Some people think things are just fine when you were in the closet. And so they do their dead level best to reconstruct that closet for you so as to stuff you back into that dwelling place that worked so well in the past. But if that was Peter's intent, God wasn't having any of it. God said, "This is my child, not the one you've known all these years, but this is my beloved child. And he makes me very happy just the way he is. So don't listen to anyone else or what they say about him. Listen to him." No one knows us better than ourselves and God. And we need to accept that in each other. Each of us has a story, and that story, with all its joys and sorrows, all its triumphs and pain, every page of our story is sacred. And telling our story, revealing it to the world, may be the bravest thing we ever do in all our life. Exposing our authentic selves, regardless of the consequences, may leave us paralyzed with fear. But just as he did in this morning's account, Jesus will gently touch us and say, "Get up and do not be afraid." Get up and don't be afraid. If you find yourself curled up in a fetal position in the dark, tucked against the corner of your bedroom because you're just too damn scared to do anything else, Jesus touches us on the shoulder and tells us to get up. There's nothing to be afraid of as long as he's with us. And the good news is he's always with us. In the closing scene of the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus is commissioning his disciples and once again telling them to get up and don't be afraid. In fact, his final words are, "Remember, I am with you always to the end of the age." When Jesus revealed his authentic self to his friends, he was assured of God's loving presence in his life. And in that moment, he was transfigured into something bright and beautiful. The words used to describe him are the very same words that describe the angel at his tomb on resurrection morning. Coming out transformed Jesus into the image of an angel. We are invited to do the same thing. And when we come out, our inner beauty will shine forth as if we are angels too. And there's nothing to fear, because Jesus is always with us, even until the end of the age. And that's the story of the authentic Jesus as it was revealed to his closest friends. A Jesus who knew what it was like to be vulnerable. A Jesus who risked rejection. A Jesus who had come to know that he was God's own beloved. That's the story. And I didn't waste millions of dollars on a slick advertising campaign to share it with you. But there are other facets of the authentic Jesus that are worth exploring. And that's what I plan to do over the next 6 Sundays. We'll take a look at the authentic Jesus. And instead of a campaign slogan that proclaims Jesus gets us, I'll be asking the question, what would the Christian church look like if it got Jesus? I hope you can join me. Amen.